Another packed video for you guys today. Quite a few news items and a bunch of new stuff coming out of the Overwatch workshop yet again. New heroes, game modes all on the horizon, but first let's hop into the news. I only briefly mentioned the lore drop or teaser in yesterday's video. Let's take a listen and see if there's any clues hidden inside.
Doomfist? Yes, you would be interested in Doomfist, wouldn't you? You know what you're asking me is not simple and could cause many problems for me. However, I understand that if I do you this favor, perhaps you will do one for me too. I wouldn't have it said that I was being difficult during this interview, so Doomfist will be in Singapore in 3 weeks' time. And I trust that you'll leave me out of any